Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
It's really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
Episode 94. Good to be with you here on the last podcast of the month of October. Man, holy cow, we're just moving along. November before you know it here. And may start feeling like it a little bit here. It's been a nice mild stretch, so hopefully you were able to enjoy a gorgeous weekend across central Indiana this past Saturday and Sunday. Monday, not bad, too. We hit 77 for a high. It was just 4 shy of a record for the date. And then, a week ago, we were talking snow. So a little bit of everything here for the back half of October, but also some needed rain. That's a welcome sign. It may not be as much as we need, but anything will help at this point. We're pretty parched across the area. In fact, the day we're recording this, I'm recording on the 25th. That's a Tuesday. I'm doing it in the morning here. We're forecasting rain later on this evening, the evening of the 25th. It would be, if we can get over 1/10 of an inch, we expect that we do. Here in Indianapolis, it would be the first time in 30 days that we've picked up over 1/10 of an inch of precip. You got to go back to the 25th of September when we had just over 1/3 of an inch of precipitation. So it's been a while. We've been parched. There's been a lot of open burning bans across the state. And I know, especially in a lot of rural areas, people burn their leaves and that kind of thing. And it's highly discouraged, not only because it's dry, it's been kind of windy. So that's prime for spreading of fires there. So hopefully this rain goes a long way. I know the dry weather certainly helped harvest time, but we certainly could use a little bit of rain. And I think we get that here a little bit before we get a bit of a cool down for the rest of the week. Of course, we'll have the forecast coming up at the end of the podcast here. Today's podcast, I wanted to give you a heads up on something cool that will be happening next week, slated for November 1st. There is a new satellite that is going to get launched into space that is going to aid in weather forecasting. Now, we already have several that are up there right now, but we got a new one that's going to be going up a little bit different than the ones that we currently have or that you might be used to with the GOES series satellites that we show on air. You can get online. This will be a little bit different. So we're going to talk about it. It is JPSS 2 that will be heading up into space next week. We'll talk more about that here on Weather Weekly.
Audible's romance collection has something to satisfy every side of you. When it comes to what kind of romance you're into, you don't have to choose just one. Fancy a dalliance with a duke, or maybe a steamy billionaire. You could find a book boyfriend in the city and another one tearing it up on the hockey field. And if nothing on this earth satisfies, you can always find love in another realm. Discover modern rom-coms from authors like Lily Chu and Ali Hazelwood, the latest romantasy series from Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, plus Regency favorites like Bridgerton and Outlander. And of course, all the really steamy stuff. Your first great love story is free when you sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com/Wondery. That's audible.com/Wondery.
It is episode 94. Good to be with you here on Weather Weekly. We're going to go out of the atmosphere a little bit to talk about this one this week, but it's something to kind of keep an eye on if you are a kind of a space and weather nerd. There will be a brand new satellite that's going to be put up into orbit to aid in weather forecasting next week. Now, this isn't the first of its kind, but the third in a series of polar orbiting satellites that will be in our system. This is known as the JPSS satellites. All right, there's already 2 up in space currently, and pardon me, there's 1 right now currently. This will be the second one that's going up. This this next week, actually, and on November 1st. And this has been a little bit delayed. I believe it was supposed to go up about a month ago in early October. I think weather kind of nixed that a little bit. But let me kind of go over what is going on here. So there's already several weather satellites, but I think it's important to kind of distinguish between the two. We have the GOES series satellites that we use frequently on air when we're showing satellite imagery, whether it be infrared. I know I use that a lot during the overnight hours and early morning hours. Visible satellite that can be used during the daytime hours. You have to have that with light. And then you have water vapor imagery. And there's a host of other different channels with a lot of these new GOES satellites that's out there. And some of that's available to us. A lot is not, but a lot of it is accessible online. And these have been up for a few years now. Just an excellent tool, but different from what will be put into the air, into space next week on November 1st. So these are what are called geostationary satellites. And what I mean by that is these satellites do not orbit the Earth. They are always in motion, but they follow the speed of the orbit of, or the rotation of the Earth, which means they're always shooting at the same spot constantly, 24 hours a day. That's geostationary. Okay, so these JPSS satellites, and they're dubbed JPSS, called Joint Polar Satellite System, but they end up getting their name changed, I believe, to NOAA satellite once they get into the atmosphere. NOAA 20 is what was known as JPSS 1. That was launched back in November of 2017. What these do is they actually will orbit the Earth from pole to pole. So not following the equator, if you will, but they'll go over and under the North and South Pole constantly through the day. So it's interesting because a lot of the data that we get that fuels our forecast in terms of the weather models that we look at, and we've talked about some of the models, right? The European, the GFS, the NAM, are coming from data-derived products such as these NOAA or JPSS satellites. In fact, NESDIS has a neat article. Up to 85% of the data that your local weather forecasts provide come from these polar orbiting satellites. There's just a lot more information that you're going to be able to retrieve because you're getting more of a global feel, and there's more instruments on here to kind of to bridge the gap on top of some of these sensors that are also on the ground. So as I mentioned, this is the second in a series of 4 that will be going up. The next one's set to launch in 2027, the last in 2032. So pretty neat. Some of the things that are going to be on this satellite, and some of this will be a foreign language to you, but I'll try to explain a little bit that's on there. And I should mention that this group of satellites is retiring a previous polar satellite that we had. It was called Suomi NP, and that is NPP, I should say, and that is getting retired as we speak, as they're putting more of these polar satellites up in space. So some of the instruments that's on there: ATMS, Advanced Technology Microwave Sounder. So this provides information about the physical properties of our atmosphere, such as temperature and moisture, which heavily influence weather patterns. Because it observes in the microwave portion of the electromagnetic spectrum, it can see through clouds and into storms. Now, Xiaomi NPP and NOAA 20 both carry an ATMS, and JPSS 2, 3, and 4 will each have one as well. CERES. This is for clouds and the Earth's radiant energy system. Measurements from the clouds and the Earth's radiant energy system instrument help scientists understand the links between the energy being absorbed and emitted by Earth's climate, as well as the properties of the atmosphere, like clouds, that affect the energy balance. This helps with climate and weather science and is applied science research. CERS currently flies on Xiaomi NPP and NOAA 20 and will be replaced by the Libera instrument on JPSS 3, which is going up next week. So the Libera instrument is a new sensor that will fly on the JPSS 3 mission and observe the balance between solar radiation entering Earth's atmosphere and the amount absorbed, reflected, and emitted. Libera is a follow-on to the clouds and the Earth radiation energy system, which we just talked about on the Xiaomi NPP and NOAA 20. There's also a CRIS, cross-track infrared sounder. This instrument provides more accurate, detailed atmospheric temperature and moisture observation for weather and climate applications. Because CRIS provides limited observation in cloudy condition, it works in tandem with the ATMS instrument. Both the Xiaomi NPP and NOAA 20 satellites carry CRIS instruments, and the JPSS 2, 3, and 4 satellite missions will carry one as well. The next one is the Ozone Mapping and Profiler Suite, OMPS. This will track the health of Earth's ozone layer and measures the concentration of ozone and other aerosols in the Earth's atmosphere. This helps with climate and weather science. OMPS is also on the Xiaomi NPP, which will be retired, and is also on the NOAA 20 satellite. It's going up on the 2, 3, and 4 missions as well. And then lastly, the VIIRS, Visible Infrared Imaging Radiometer Suite. This instrument collects visible and infrared images and global observation of the land, atmosphere, cryosphere, and oceans. VIIRS generates many critical environmental products pertaining to snow and ice cover, clouds, fog, aerosols, fire, smoke plumes, dust, vegetation health, and phytoplankton, phytoplankton abundance, and chlorophyll. VIIRS currently flies on Xiaomi NPP and NOAA 20 and will go on all the new satellites going up as well. Now, again, some of these are older. They were on this older technology, but obviously these instruments have been upgraded. So will look better, give better data. Basically what happened with a lot of the GOES products that have gone up over recent years as well. Just a lot more to offer. And look, all of this is to better understand how our atmosphere is behaving and how we can better forecast. I've said it often before, but meteorology, although has been around for all of our lives, is a relatively new science. And the forecasting has just improved immensely since its inception, and just continues to get better with this technology. And as we continue to understand how climate and the atmosphere work, I think it's also important to note that there is attached to this rocket. This doesn't have anything to do with weather, but pretty cool that there will be another experiment going on. It's called the LOFTID, LOFTID. This is going to be a test to see if they can potentially land. This will hit the lower atmospheres of the Earth and then land in California, where this originally will launch. But this is basically an initial test to see if this is something they can use to potentially land human life on Mars. So something also to kind of keep an eye on as they take a look at that. So something cool to keep an eye on here as the progress continues on getting up some new satellites here with the JPSS that will be launched into orbit next week on the 1st. We're going to take a look at your forecast as we wrap up the month of October. That's coming in next here on Weather Weekly. Here's a look at the forecast for the last week of the month of October, last full week, I should say. For the month of October, big changes on the way with a pretty strong cold front that's going to be working through Tuesday night into Wednesday. Finally brings some much needed rain to the area here. But all rain should wrap up as we roll through the midday hours on Wednesday and we turn significantly cooler. Highs return to the 50s both Wednesday and Thursday. But it's important to note that it's not as a significant shot of colder air like we had early in the week last week, where we had some accumulating snow in some areas. Not going to be that cold. Overnight lows could be cold enough that we get some patchy frost, but I think we stay above freezing. And I think we bounce back to the 60s, so close to average already by Friday. So the biggest dip will be Wednesday and Thursday. We'll likely see numbers into the mid-60s on Saturday. There are some hints of some showers both Sunday and Monday for Halloween. So if you have trick-or-treating plans, do be aware of that. I know some communities may do it over the weekend. I know others will wait until the holiday itself on Monday. Doesn't look like we'll be anything severe here, but there may be a few showers that we could have to dodge on Monday. Nothing significant back behind that system. Looks like numbers will kind of maintain into the low 60s for really the long term here over the next 8 to 10 days. So near normal temperatures, it appears, over the extended, the 8 to 14 day outlook here. So this will take us into really the first full week of November. Strong signal for above average temperatures to continue, and above average precipitation chances also look to be in play. The month of November, the forecast calling for really equal chances both for temperatures and for precipitation to either go above or below normal, so no strong signal either way. And I don't know if you caught this, but we'll go ahead and give you the heads up on the winter outlook that was issued. Equal chances for above or below average temperatures. And it is a La Nina winter. It looks like a strong signal for a La Nina winter. So that usually signals to a more active pattern and a more wet pattern. Now, does that mean more snow? Difficult to say, because that is very much temperature dependent on when we get a lot of that moisture. So we shall see as we try to look into that crystal ball. And of course, hoping to get that forecast for the winter. We'll get that coming up in a few weeks on how much snow we expect to see here in central Indiana. But at least in the short term, not done with the milder temperatures yet. So there's still plenty of things that we can be doing outside over the next several weeks. And I think temperatures are going to cooperate for the most part here as we enter in to the month of November. Thank you so much for joining us here on this week's podcast. If you'd like to offer a suggestion or if you have a comment, love to hear it. You can shoot me an email, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com. You can also reach me on social media. Marcus Bailey Weather on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram at Marcus Bailey. We'll get you there as well. While you're here, make sure to join or check out all the other great podcasts, all part of the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you next week, and God bless.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.